try to adjust my lighting.
Adjust that lighting. Now we're live, man. You had all the time.
No, now I'm shining.
How's it going, everybody? This is Ray Felix, the Notorious, here with Jonathan Sythax, the Crazy Man Vera, and my co-host for today, Chris Duckett. How you guys all doing?
You're doing good.
Well,
Good.
Live on
Good.
studio,
Everybody's
right?
doing good.
Yeah, so let's get the show on the road, man. Let's get this thing rolling out. Let's get this moving. Let me go get it here. All right, here we go. So, who's barking? How's it going, guys? This is part 2 of our Bronx Hero series with the Catch the Craze crew. Today we have Jonathan Sambera and my co-host Chris Duckett. So, gentlemen, what's up, man? What's up? We're doing round 2. This is like it's like happy hour 2 days in a row.
Yeah, right.
Doing well. Good to see Chris. Sam's in the building. I'm wearing the crazy for you, Sam. You know, I'm cooking my behind off in here, like 900-degree weather with the heater, but I'm representing for you, my friend, my brother. So.
Good looking.
We're gonna open up with Jonathan, if you don't mind, Sam. You know, and then you just because I see you're writing something down there.
I'm promoting the show right now.
Oh, very good. All right. Yeah. Awesome.
That's why I was asking for the link.
All right. Great. So, Jonathan, talk to me, babe. What have you been up to, man, during this whole COVID thing? You know, it's just like, what's happening there?
Well, yeah, I've been chilling. I actually am publishing other people's books. My friend Derek Peoples is coming out with a book called The Lesson I Wrote It. So I'm actually kind of sparing myself to a publishing house to take on other works. And I'm pushing the Future Scope book pretty well. Sam, shout out to my boy Sam. He did a great review, which really got some great attention and moved the project. It's called Future Scope Showcase, Celestine, and other Protector Realms and other stories. So work's getting out there, just having fun, and been subscribing to a lot of Kickstarters for to back up my boy Sam as well. So a lot of good stuff.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. And Sam, man, how's it going? I hope you got some sleep last night.
Long day, and today's a long day because it's the last 2 days of Indigogo. Welcome, I'm Sam, the Crazy Man, comic book creator of Cosmic Wars. There's Nail in My Toilet, Catch the Crazies, and Forbidden, which is on Indigogo, and we have 48 hours left. So if you haven't pledge today. If you pledge $15 or more.
You find my name on that list?
Huh? I think so. If you pledge $15 or more, and we hit the $1,000 stretch goal, which is $112 away from making it, that's 5 pledges at $15.
5 pledges at $15.
Yeah, if you've pledged tonight, and we hit that 1,000, everybody on top of the additional 4 pages that's going into the book from that stretch goal, everybody will get a commission sketch card by me from the $15 level and up. So. Pledge tonight for Forbidden. It's a great story.
I'm gonna donate tonight. I need well, this is my Eisner wall because it's Eisner week and Eisner month, right? So and then we have my wall of fame over here with the hot toy. So we need a Sam Vera up there. We need a Sam Vera original. You know, we got Chris up there.
There you go.
So Chris, what's going on, man? I haven't spoken to you in a few days. What's going on? What you about to?
Well, right now I was just inking a rope page, written by Ray Felix, drawn by me. I was inking, I believe, page number 10.
Page number 10.
So,
all right.
Yeah. Can I show it? Can I show it? No.
Go ahead, show. Yeah.
Yes.
This is show and tell, baby, like kindergarten. We're showing and telling.
Just trying to put it together. I was just inking a rope page,
Nice.
by Ray Felix. Drawn by me. I was thinking, believe page.
We got a delay there somewhere.
Yeah, I had the delay.
Houston, we have a problem. Houston. This is show and tell, maybe like kindergarten. Show and tell.
They just don't know that we're on the same ship with this delay going on.
That's our neighboring broadcast from Helsinki. We have a Helsinki delay.
But that's what's been going on. I'm working on these pages for Ray. We're trying to get them out, as soon as he's able to.
That's awesome.
And
we're looking for that.
I mean,
for a long time. I'm not going to say how long, but it's been a while.
It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years now since the redo. 3 years.
Okay. Yeah, 3 years. All right.
12 years altogether. 12 years altogether.
Tell us more about this pitch, Sam, because we want to get people to donate. We're going to do like telethon style, Jerry Lewis.
Telethon style. I'll put the link in the bio in a second. But basically, the book is Forbidden. It's an epic fantasy series I created back in 2000. And if you knew me from back in the days of the Big Apple Comic-Con, Crazy Comics, we introduced Forbidden for the first time back then. And this was what it looked like back then. And now it's remastered and different logo. Anibal Arroyo, fantastic artist. He did an amazing job on the first 2 issues. And then it's continued with Primi Santra, who finished the rest of the series, which is about 6 issues, is about 140 pages. Mm-hmm. Right now on Indiegogo is the first issue. Issue 0 is the introduction to the world. And, we're down to the last 2 days. It's the last 2 days. It's 48 hours. And, we already made our goal. We're trying to get to the stretch goal. You get amazing story. You get the backstory with world maps and character bios. You get some fan art. We have some amazing artists that contributed some fan art. That's like Daphne Lage, Hector Rodriguez, Hero, Sebastian Bonet, and John Coates.
There too. Nice.
Yes, and John Coates. There was some more that was supposed to submit it, but we never got it. So they're going to end up in the book. And
awesome.
And so I'm excited about it. It's my first time on Indiegogo.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I'll show you some. I'll show you a couple of pages. Some amazing, fantastic. I gotta watch because the last time I was doing this, I knocked down my wine everywhere.
Be careful, man. It's expensive equipment there.
This is
really awesome, man. That looks so clean. I've been drawing for years and I still can't get that look. It's like I'm too stuck in my ways, in my underground ways,
Right? I know. Anibal has a great line work. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, my God. Say, Chris, you need to get him to ink your work, Chris. That looks good. Look at that. That looks like a coloring book. It's so clean. I can't even do that. I get too crazy with the process.
Actually, Anibal wants me to do a Hulk, and he wants to color a Hulk.
Nice. I would be curious to see.
I told him I'll get to it.
Combining, because you have a very cartoonish comic style, and he has this nice, really clean line work. I mean, that would be an interesting mashup. That's really awesome.
Yeah. So Anibal did an amazing job. I wanted him to finish the series. He passed on it because he had other obligations. Mm-hmm. So I commissioned a different artist. I found him through DeviantArt.
Right.
Because I didn't want to do it myself because I was working on other projects, and I felt that I wanted somebody who was going to actually capture a similar look to what Anibal did.
Right.
And he did an amazing job. It's epic, amazing, huge battle scenes, a lot of suspense. George did the lettering, George Medina, who you know him for Rush 5377 and Wonder Duck. He's also the co-host on Catch the Craze podcast. And David the Wolf Quiles did a cover.
We mentioned David Quiles yesterday. We didn't really get to talk much about him. How's he doing, man? I haven't seen that cat in a long time.
You and me both. All I know is that he's living in Vegas. He bought a house out there.
Vegas, Vegas, baby.
He's a manager in retail, and he takes a lot of photos of his food and liquor. That's it.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yes.
This is what I'm eating.
Sometimes, you make it in New York, you can go anywhere after that. It's like
yes. I'm going to try to find.
Like I feel like I have to move on from New York at some point in my life too. I don't know where to, but
this is the art that David did for the cover.
Let's see that. Let me make you the main guy here. so I could see your artwork.
Nice.
Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to click this thing. It looked like it froze or something.
Wasn't David doing he was doing these drawings of the serial killer film characters, right? Wasn't he doing that for a little while?
Yeah, David was doing a lot of. He's very talented. Nice black screen. We all went dark.
I'm like, huh?
The lights are. You told me yesterday to drag you into the main window, right? So I'm trying to drag you in the main window right now.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah, that's what.
Let me drag you into the main window. So let me see how I do that.
Ray forgot.
I know already. There you go. Boom! All right, put that thing back up.
There it is.
Oh wow! Look at that. That is so amazing, man.
Yeah.
Look at the bottom. That looks great too. Wow.
Yeah.
Here we go, Sam.
That's not very PC there.
No. We did a fantastic. That's good. That's the hollow foil cover.
Hollow foil cover. Wow.
Yeah. So this is. Look at that.
Wow, that's great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Has that?
Yeah. I want that.
I hate to compare things. What's that?
I was saying, Sam, I want that drawing as my sketch card when you hit your 1,000.
Hit my 1,000. You know what's funny is that what's up, Sebastian? And what's up, Darius?
We got Darius Crosby. What's up, Darius?
Yeah. So what was I gonna say?
He wants it for his sketch card.
Oh, it's funny. Damn. If I was gonna say.
Like not gonna happen.
This is what happens when you're locked up in Mogadishu for such a long time. What happens to Sam? He disappeared. And he automatically shows up.
Oh my god!
But yeah, so I'm excited.
It has to be drawn exactly the same.
Huh?
Yeah. You can't keep corners. I want every bullet.
When I decided to come back, I one of the things that George and I were talking about, he's like, "Yo, why don't you bring back Forbidden? Why don't you bring back Forbidden?"
Mm-hmm.
And I had already commissioned the artist because I reached out to Anibal and first, and Anibal was like, "Nah, yeah, he's rocking the hoodie." And so when I found Primat, he just nailed it, and I'm proud to say that the entire thing is done. So all 140 something pages are done. They're inked, currently being colored. And George is wrapping up the lettering. And
that's awesome.
So issue 0 helps pay for the coloring. This is the Indiegogo's help pay, because the next time I come on the crowdfunding, if we don't raise enough this time around to color the entire series, then I'll release issue 1 on Kickstarter instead of Indiegogo.
Yeah.
And, but if we do raise enough, then the next time I launch it on a Kickstarter, it'll be for the entire collected edition.
That's wicked. Yeah, I did a similar thing with my punchline where I wanted to, because the whole DC thing, I'm sure I've been mauled about it. I already see people making fun of it already, but I mean, it's like, like I needed to get this book out before DC because Diamond shut down. There was no distribution, so I was like,
right.
I already had the first issue colored, and I was already like 5 pages into the second issue colored. But I was like, I'm not going to make it. So I ended up doing what I call the noir edition and just put it out in black and white. I was like, I need to beat them. And then it did come out. And then 2 months later, the DC stuff came out. Of course, DC is going to like always outsell you because they're DC. But it was interesting to see as that storyline progressed, how much they actually ripped from my script. And I actually was talking to the DC lawyers, like, look at this similarity. Look at that similarity. Look, this is like the same plot. It's like, but that's ongoing, so.
Yeah, I think you should just move into the DC office.
I know. Right.
Exactly. Just peek in, dude.
Like, give me a freaking.
I think you wake up and come over. You printed that book? All right, that's mine. So let's go. Let's talk. No, you printed that book? That's mine. Let's talk.
Exactly. Yeah, I even put on my blog. I'm not a regular blogger. I need to be more on top of that, as a writer. I should be writing at least once a week, but I also put like where they took panels of my World Without Superheroes during the year they were suing me, and actually just ripping panels and like doing like these a mystery man from the World Without Superheroes. So I thought that was funny, that they did that too. So
actually ripped the cover. I
Yeah,
think they ripped the cover too.
because I took off Superman's underwear back in the 90s, and then the New 52 came out. He had no undies. He was called omnipotent.
Did you tell? Did you tell them about how they ripped the roach for Dynamite?
For Dynamite, I remember the Canterbury Cricket. They did that. That was like way back in the day when we first did the Bronx Heroes Con. The very first Bronx Heroes comic book came out. They came out with a story of this Moroccan guy called the Canterbury Cricket, and that was just like, well, we know who's behind that one, right? That's Mike Klein, I'm sure. that was our snake in the grass guy that worked for Marvel and DC, and just kept, every time we had meetings, he was basically siphoning ideas from our stuff and then going back to Marvel and DC and putting it in their books, So we had a spy for many years.
Well, the game is changing now. I mean, Marvel just announced that they're going to go with was it Random House Publishing?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just mentioned it today on the news.
They're going with Random House, and starting October 1st, and so I mean,
Random House is taking over their whole thing. Their whole
Diamond is taking lumps. At first, it was DC, then this, and then Alternative decided to reach out directly, direct distribution to the retailers. So Diamond's taking lumps. The days of Diamond are going to be like Onyx now,
like Blockbuster. But it's like the rooster's coming home. It's the chickens are coming home to roost, because let's face it, Diamond was screwing a lot of indie guys back in the day, holding their books hostage. They were pulling Amazons, what Amazon does to people now. Well, they get your stuff in the warehouse and they try to hit you up with some extra hidden fee or something like that. And I knew indie guys that are no longer in the game because they dropped in like 25 grand into their book for distribution with Diamond, and then they paid for the ad. Diamond put the ad in their book, but they never released it because they said, well, you didn't meet our 2,800 minimum sales, so we're not distributing your book. So even though comic book stores ordered the book, they wouldn't send it to them because they didn't hit their magic number. And those magic numbers, DC and Marvel, not all their titles hit those numbers either. So
yeah, and I think it's karma. Eventually, it was going to catch up, and
they bankrupt a lot of indie people that started out, they
made it really difficult. You had to jump through hoops.
Mm-hmm.
You had to kiss the ring. It was like The Godfather. You had to kiss the ring in order to, be recognized. And
and they do have mob origins, from what I understand, but I've heard from people.
It's in so many books. It's in the thing about Marvel Comics. It's in the Stan Lee book, the biography that I'm reading.
Oh, really?
It like talks about a lot of mafia situations. Like, there was Jewish mafia and stuff like that. So.
Marvel Comics is basically a hub for laundering money, and you just see it because it wasn't just Marvel Comics. It was the nudie magazines, Men's Only magazine, all those pulp-like magazines. Those were upstairs. That was like on the top floor. Marvel Comics was on one floor. Then you had on another floor you had those guys. Those are all tied in. Hey,
you gotta remember this, Ray. Marvel, DC also ran Marvel's production of how many comics they could put out back in the 60s and the 50s. So if DC said that you could just only have 7 books a month, that was it.
Right.
So they were bullied too, kind of.
It's
kind of crazy, but I still look at it like today. We're in the same. Even as an independent producer of comics, you still have a situation where can your book really sell? Do you have other people that's leeching off of you? Meaning, like, people that just don't like you and they're just going to put out, oh, don't buy this guy's books. They try to blacklist you. And if you notice that the internet is being used widely on situations of nobody wants to look at your product. I don't like this guy because of what he said. And now all of a sudden your book is not being sold.
It's
when your book has nothing to
media McCarthyism. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
One thing I do have to say, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
One thing I do have to say is that I do see an emergence, and on a positive note, independent success and quality of product really setting a standard. Like, I just started really funding Kickstarters, and it's to the point where I gotta discipline myself not to throw all my check or all my money to every Kickstarter that comes. And it's not just to support people. It's it's great book after great book after phenomenal book after phenomenal book, and it's not uncommon for somebody to go past their goal. It's not uncommon for 10 independents, 12 independents to all have Kickstarters, and all of them are blowing past their goal. So something's happening within the independent world that is actually moving them together up at a higher level than I think they ever been before. And that's a good thing, despite all.
I think it's a great thing. I mean, what I find interesting is that when I go from show to show to show in different states, the artist alley is more diverse. It used to be the same cats traveling, like, we were like the Traveling Wilburys or like the Grateful Dead, going from show to show. But now you see, like, every state has their own indie crew. They're like clones of us, representing their state, their community, their block, with their books. And I think that's a threat to Marvel and DC too, because that's a major. If you think about that, nationwide. I mean, this is happening internationally. But nationwide, because mostly Americans read superhero-based books. If you think about it, when people come in and they buy a book from you, and then other people they're buying books from other indie creators, that's a major hole in DC and Marvel's pocket. That's money that doesn't go to their pocket, and it goes to us. And I think that was part of the price point thing too, because it was more expensive for us. We had to compete with Marvel's cheaper prices before. But I see that Marvel and DC raised their prices because they saw that the indies, we had to pay more because we printed less. So they saw that we are selling books at a higher page rate. Instead of a $3 book, some people sell their book for like $4, $5. I've even seen some people sell books for $7. John Leguizamo was selling his comic at New York Comic Con for like $30. It was like $15 with a signature was $30. I mean, so a lot of celebrities are getting in on it. A lot of people are getting into their indie books. Look at what's his name? Keanu Reeves is now doing his own comic. There's a lot of people out there that are jumping on that, and Marvel and DC says, hey, we can put out an annual that's $8, that's $12, and gloss it up. Now, granted, when we were kids, that was $1.25 for the same format, but they're keeping it competitive. So they know that the writing's on the wall,
But my question is this for a lot of independents. I mean, we all got different styles. How do we get to the point of outreaching across different states, not just only by using the internet, but to boost advertisement? But I'll give you a good example. There's this guy that I worked with on a book that he's not working on it now, but he's been accepted into the Marvel universe. He's been working on little strips for them and stuff, and now he has a major book out. I don't want to say what it is because until I'm able to get the permission to say it, but the book that he has out now is actually in the comic book shops, the first issue, and it's sold out within 4 days in the comic book shops. And I think he's from Virginia. And He's an independent writer, and the book that he's selling now is not from Marvel or DC. It's from like this company that him and his friend put together, and they're doing pretty good. I don't know how they're pushing out the books, but I mean, the books were in Forbidden Planet, Anyone Comics. There's another comic book shop out in Brooklyn that I've been to, and it was there. So I think it's, you know, if we could learn that business type and get to that point, you know, I think it'll be a blast.
Well, I could. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Because I mean, I'll give you a good example. Oblivion, the movie that Tom Cruise was in.
Right.
I didn't know that the guy that directed the film drew the comic book, wrote the story.
Oh, really?
And one of Tom Cruise's agents bought the book, picked up the book, brought it to Tom Cruise, and produced the film.
He must have been in the Scientology.
but the artist, from what I heard about the artist, is that he went back to college to study filming. And then that's when he got the chance to direct his own comic. You know, it's kind of crazy when you have Morgan Freeman and Tom Cruise in your own comic film. I mean,
that's awesome.
But I don't know. It's like I know that you want to get out there and you want to push it as far to the max as possible. But how do we get to that point?
Well, with the Trumpland book, I had a publisher, and they're international because they're in Canada, so they're more international and Canadian markets. But nobody was carrying the book here in the United States, and I was harassing them for like 6 months to like get a diamond number. But then they got the diamond number, but then nobody knows about this. So like Levine the Machine over here, Sam Vera, had to like channel his energies, you know, and like and then I did the old-fashioned way, man. Cold calls, you know, cold calls. I called comic book stores. I called every comic book store in California, every comic book store in Chicago. I even went to Chicago, went to comic book stores, talked to people. And this is during the pandemic, you know, when stores were just reopening. I called Jersey. I got Tom to call people in Connecticut. We called everybody in New York. And it's still not over. It's kind of hard to do it when you have a full-time job and then you're doing all other stuff. But I find connecting with people, just like we don't have cons, but we have comic book stores. And as long as you have that diamond number, I mean, there should be another way besides a diamond number. I think if we create a network, like a distribution company, we get a handful of successful indies together and form our own type of diamond where we head the distribution. It really comes down to old-fashioned phone calls and saying, hey, this is our book, and you pitch it to them, and you give them a website where they can order it, and that's that. And you give them the same deal, the same cut they would get with Diamond. You know, you give them like a 40% cover price, you know. But then you got to print enough. You have to print enough books where you can afford to give them that price, you know. So I don't know. What do you think, Sam? What do you think about that?
No, I think it's you cannot lose the hustle. And as an independent, you got to get past the idea of, you know, Diamond or anybody else. You are Diamond. You know, you have to go out there and you have to create a database. Take, you know, that information exists. Do the research. Create a database of all shops. Create your own catalog of what you own and what's ready to go. And just like you would find in previews. And give, you know, and then reach out to, send a mass email, and then follow it up with a call a couple of days later. And that it's time consuming, but those efforts in the beginning will pay off long term. Yeah. So your short game is hustling every single day, making contacts, but you got to have the finished product. Don't even bother hustling if you don't have everything ready. So I would say to anybody who's trying to create a comic book, if it's a series, have at least 5 already in the pipeline, ready to go. So this way, when you reach out to the stores, when they pick it up that first month, you already have the second, third, fourth, fifth month already in the pipeline. You don't embarrass yourself and make it harder for the other indies coming behind you when you only have a one shot and you tell them it's a series, but then you can't and it does well, and they're like, you know what, we're interested, or you're not ready, it's gonna leave a bad taste in your mouth, and the reputation just gets worse for the small guys.
Yeah.
I think you just have to hustle. If you're gonna do this, if you're hoping that someone's gonna go and Morgan Freeman's gonna go and shake your hand, a long time ago. So instead of waiting for them to come to you, bring your book to them by the hustle. Get it out to all of the critics. And have a thick skin. I say whether good bad press, any press is good press, and so as long as you get people talking about what you're doing, and that's what So right now, anybody can be a published author. With Amazon and Kindle and Barnes and Nobles and you have you have all of these print on demand places where you could just upload, and now I'm a published author, right? So you use that as the tagline, use that in your signature, published artist, whatever, and just hustle, and then work on your pitch, and work on your charm and charisma. That the problem is that most people in the creative space have a tough time being personable. They're odd, and they get and they're hoping for somebody else to do the job that they need to do for themselves. You have to be your own PR agent. You have to be your own marketing agent. You have to hustle, and you have to learn how to smile, and you have to learn how to eat crow, because you're gonna get critics. And just shake it off. I get critics. I mean, even when promoting Forbidden, there was a bunch of knuckleheads that, rather than saying, just passing on it, they have to put their comments on it, right? So because I'm the publisher of the post, I just delete it, and before it even takes off, and don't give it any life. So there's going to be people out there that's going to be hating on what you do. That's fine. It comes with the game. But have a finished product, and then that finished product is just grunt work. Where it begins is when you need to reach to the you want to reach to the public, and that's where your hustle begins, and you have to be able to do it. If not, give it up.
I mean, I was listening to a podcast today where people were like shitting all over me. I'm not gonna advertise them, but I'm not lying. There's this podcast where they're talking a lot of, and the bottom line is, it's like when you're doing an independent business and you're selecting people to work with, you have to be on top of each other, keep each other honest. And when your partners don't fulfill that promise, or if you catch them stealing from the company, you got to do everything to protect what's yours. You have to protect your work. This is a business. It's not we're in the business of comics. We're not in the business of politics. We're not in the business of identity politics. I mean, those things we can put in our books and communicate those ideas. But at the end of the day, just like Marvel and DC is a business, we're also a business. And I think that fans, or even spectators, people that don't know about you but hear rumors about you, will come up with their own criticisms and opinions, especially because of social media, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a podcast. They're gonna put their opinion on you, even if they never met you, just based on a rumor, so you just got to be like, well, as an artist, the first thing you do is protect your work, even when you're working with people that you're cool with for years, like I worked with some people for like a decade. Well, Chris knows. Chris has been there since the beginning. We worked with tons of people that came and went, and everyone tried to claim, that our hard work was theirs. And you just gotta, protect your shit, and keep it moving. Let them say whatever they're gonna say, but we're still here, So.
And
Jonathan.
also, I think, I think that you have to network even before you putting out your work. So, for example, I look at a lot of the people that have the Kickstarters, and they're blowing past the numbers. I'm talking about like their goal is 10,000, and by day 5, 6, they're at 28,000. By the middle of the Kickstarter, they're literally like 30, 35,000 on their
Thanks
Kickstarter.
For rubbing it in, John. Thanks for rubbing it in.
Yeah.
Huh? I'm sorry.
He says roping it in.
Thanks for rubbing it in.
Oh, rubbing it in.
No,
I think you said roping it in. You said rubbing it in.
I apologize, man. I'm sorry. You, dude, we got to do this. You got to get there. You got to embarrass all of them. Trust me, Sam. I got you.
Sam, is there a secret mansion somewhere that you got? Is there a Batmobile?
That's what I think is what's going on.
I just came from Pakistan. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And I'm looking at what they're doing, and I noticed that they have this person cross-marketing their Kickstarter. So all their business becomes their business and vice versa. So
yeah,
it's like,
no, I think
they're pledging over here, but they're also pledging to the same person because they're cross-promoting. He's doing that with 5 Kickstarters, so all 5 is eating from the same trough, so to speak, indirectly, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think the guys who
don't you? Yeah.
The guys who are successful are the ones who have curated and nurtured their fan base. They're the one. They made certain that they stayed in contact, and they made certain that you cherish that email address, you cherish that contact, and you make certain that you let the people know what you're doing, even if you don't have a Kickstarter at the time. You say, send monthly updates or whatever it is, and once you have that information, it's gold. Once you have that loyal list, it's gold, and you have to keep it and nurture it. And I think the reason why those guys are successful is they built that fan base, and that fan base knows what they're going to get with them. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. And that's where the newbies, it becomes harder because the ocean is filled.
Right.
And more so than ever before. Everybody, since the lockdown, it just between all of your podcasting devices, they were sold out. I mean, you couldn't get a webcam. You couldn't get, as soon as the lockdown hit, within 3 months, people realized I need all this equipment. So now everybody's podcasting. Then Kickstarter, like, well, that's a way of generating revenue to produce your content. Mm-hmm. Everyone's doing it. So you're constantly competing in a saturated market. What's going to make the difference? And, I think the biggest thing is once you build that fan base, even if it's one person, nurture that person. Mm-hmm. And then you get that second person and bring them on and make sure that they're part of that process and make them feel like they're part of the process by asking them questions, mm-hmm. sending them surveys, getting feedback. That's the critical part.
That's right. And remember, everyone should be donating to Forbidden. Plug that one more time, man. Plug that in.
Forbidden on Indiegogo right now. Full color. 20 years in the making. 5 talented people that worked on it. You had myself, I'm the creator and cover artist. You had Anibal Arroyo did the interiors. David Keelis did a alternative cover. George the Dreamer Medina did the lettering. We got Barbara doing the colors. I mean, there's a lot of talented people behind this project. We're $112 away from the stretch goal. If 5 people backed it at $15, we would make it. So we got 48 hours to go, maybe even less. So if you're out there, give Forbidden a chance. The link is in there. I posted it. Just hit that link, go to Indiegogo, type in Forbidden Comic, and you'll see it. You'll see a bunch of warriors. And it's a pretty awesome book. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, I mean,
if anyone has questions,
ask questions. Go ahead, John.
I think he had like Tourette's or something. What was that?
No, I was saying it's fire. You gotta get it.
If anyone has questions, feel free to ask. I think it's a good thing. For me, I always felt that community-based grassroots advertising. I think one of the things when I moved from the Bronx, that was one thing that I lost. But I was just a point in my life where I had to escape the Bronx, which it wasn't even a matter of I have to leave or I have to go. It was more like a natural thing, that was going on here. I mean, I'm upstate New York now. I think I would have stayed in the Bronx my entire life, to be honest. I would have lived and died in the Bronx, but this opportunity opened up. It was a rare opportunity, and I which was more like a family emergency, but I ended up, rising to the occasion, being the superhero and that I try to be every day in my life. Like some people try to be Christ-like. I try to be superhero-like. I try to, like, I think that, and it worked out. So, but being part of the Bronx community, like during the shutdown, I was organizing with the Boogie Down Grind, which is a Bronx coffee house in Hunts Point. And even though there was a shutdown, they opened up and did outdoor events. And I was like, I'm going to go there. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to chill with some people. It was dangerous. We had outdoor artwork. We had outdoor, sold some books outside. So it was like an outdoor con, but with different people selling hats. Some people were doing art, painting. It was like a real cool old school jam, street party type of thing.
Like a fair.
Going till like 3:00 in the morning. And I did it for 3 weekends into a row. And after the third weekend, I was like, I can't do this. I'm tired. I'm tired. But I do miss that New York energy. There's an energy in New York with the people, and I love engaging people. And I had that even when I was a Jehovah's Witness, knocking on people's door at 6:00 in the morning. Engaging people, communicating with them, talking to them. I think that's where my heart is, really. Go ahead, Chris. You got your itching there. What you doing?
No. I'm just drawing. I'm listening to you.
The camera. I was like, what's going on? Go ahead.
Well, my mother-in-law was in the background. So.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine.
Yeah. So the thing is that, you still got people that want Bronx heroes.
Mm-hmm.
You still got people that want everything about it, the con and everything like that. I tell y'all guys this, that, Ray was going through a lot of stress, putting together the con. It was like he was getting ready for his wedding and invited the whole entire city.
Right.
And I was just only there as I'm just only penciling his stuff. Mm-hmm. And every time we got together, he's like, oh, I got to make these phone calls. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to communicate with this person. And he had assistants, can you call this person? Can you get this paperwork done? They had to write down, I guess, stuff for whatever you have to do to put it together. And, Ray's still lucky that he got all the hair on his head. So,
it's funny.
I would say it's very stressful. That's all I could say.
It's because doing a comic convention, you're literally preparing for one day, like a wedding. I never considered that because I never had an official wedding. I went to the courthouse. It's like, I never did the big wedding thing. But yeah, you're preparing 1 year for one day. And then when that show's over, you start preparing for the next year. And doing that for years, that's why I find it funny where my former associate has said 3 times in 3 separate interviews that the first Women in Comics Con was put together in a month, and then we did it in a month. I'm like, you just proved that you weren't really part of organizing that, because it takes an entire year. You're talking about writing grants, grant proposals, going to seminars, scheduling meetings with community organizations, with museums, with libraries, with, talking to people on the community board, getting permissions for things, like I've done blood drives, talking to the blood drive, and that's a lot of work. And like I said, it was nonstop. Like the show ended, you're like, yeah, we did it. We had a great show. And then the next day you're preparing for next year, and then next year and next year. And then at some point your head's going to explode. But,
yeah,
but I think that, I would say that I'm one of the few Comic Cons in New York that actually had state funding, by Bloomberg, by New York State Council on the Arts, by the Bronx Council on the Arts, by Community Board 7. We had sponsors like BronxNet. You don't see a lot of Comic Cons doing sponsorships like that, they're just kind of like small guys anyway. The big ones, they have sponsors, but because rich people don't like to pay anything out of their pocket. But like the little guys, you just see them mom and pop in it, and that's fine. But But that's the way it is. It's
it's I think events are great, and I think especially the smaller cons, I think it's in their best interest to make sure that they have affordable rates for Artist Alley.
mm-hmm.
But what I find is a lot of these smaller guys are charging rates like they were big on New York Comic Con or Wizard World, and they make it really difficult for the little guy because everybody wants to be at a show and everybody wants to get seen, but are you breaking even? Are you in the black or you're in the red when you leave?
Right.
So I think like even now it's like I was looking at a lot of events that are popping up. And the reason why I'm doing PowCon is because the rate was affordable. A 6-foot table for 2 days, $150. You can't beat that.
Right.
When I looked at New York,
that's not bad.
looking at Big Apple, which is coming up, they charge $600.
They said 600.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
I'm like
Crazy. They're crazy.
And at the New Yorker hotel. So I was like, come on, you're crazy.
And Sam, your space.
I might cut my own throat by saying this, but Big Apple Comic Con in the early days, we used to rent multiple tables from them, right? So back in the day when Gary and Ed was in the picture, I would order a table. Ed Muzan would get a table. Sometimes Gary would get a table, and we requested our tables be together. And I can tell you, that we all got different prices. Like I was charged like $350, $400 a table. It all depended on the time. We did Big Apple for years. Sometimes we get $250 for a table, but then Ed, who was black, they always charge him $400, $600. So he was always charged more for a table than I was charged for a table. And I was like, and this is back in the day before they didn't even post their prices for tables. You had to email and inquire within. Right. So that I thought was like kind of shady and shisty. And then after a while, we're like, after it happened, like the third time, we were like, you know what? I think we're not going to do this show anymore. And no disrespect to their show. Everyone has their own business ethic, but for you not to post your show prices, and then everyone has this different price based on this, it's just like not cool. But and they're still around, so it seems.
I think they were doing it based upon they knew you, and
well, they didn't know.
That's what I got from them.
Nobody, yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been with you before, Gary and Ed.
Oh yeah, of course.
Joined us at AppleCon, and I noticed that I got in 2 tables at the con, and if they didn't think that you had, if you weren't big enough, I guess by their knowledge, they would charge you. They charge you more,
which is discriminatory.
Backwards, yeah, it's discriminatory and it's backwards.
I mean, on one hand, when you're having a show and you need to have comic book celebrities there, of course they're getting free tables because they don't pay for tables. That's just the way it is. They're not going to shout. They don't have to be at your show, especially if you're a small show. So, you want to accommodate them, feed them, whatever, say, hey, come on down, we feed you. Sometimes they require like a stipend or something like that, and that's fine. But to go and then charge people, independent people, different prices based on what? What are you basing it on? If I'm an independent and I'm charging $350 for a table, and then the other brother's getting $600 for the table, and it's the same damn table, they're next to each other. I don't see the reason for that.
I think Chris is right. It's if you know them, because with the time when I was doing cons back in the days, the Big Apple treated us right, and there were a couple of times where they put us in a bad spot, and once we raised that concern, they moved us.
That's another thing. You got moved like 4 or 5 times during the same show. Like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. What I always try to do whenever I did the Big Apples, because they were really good to me, but what I try to do is get there really early when they first start letting you set up, and that we would be like the first ones there to make sure that we locked in the spot. So you got them when they're good and they're happy and they're excited about the day before before the realization that maybe the weather was bad and we didn't get the line that we wanted, whatever it was. So you want to get them when they're good. I got in and I was like, look, and when they're labeling the tables, that's what I used to go. And then I'm like, all right, we're taking this spot. And so we held down the same spot for a long time. Remember, John? We had the same spot for a while.
Yeah.
So you always knew where to find us. And so that's, so I appreciate them about that. But I think those prices are just crazy, especially when when New York is at 25% capacity right now.
Right.
So you're going to have less people allowed to come in, and you're charging the artists, $600. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. So I'm looking at the shows that where the risk is achievable. Like I'm not risking much. So I know that at PowCon, I have a higher success rate with 150. I drive there because I live in Jersey. I drive there, drive home. I'm not spending on hotel or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a greater chance of making that money back and potentially a profit than paying $600 to go to the New York the Big Apple.
Mm-hmm.
At New Yorker with 25% capacity, having to pay for a parking spot, paying the tolls, and there's no guarantee you're gonna make. How many things you got to sell. So the fact that it's going to be the first one for 2021 for Big Apple, the locals are going to be looking for the names.
Right, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Before
and that's a collector show anyway. Big Apple. I remember they had Roy Thomas and all the old school guys. And then they set up a line, and the line was right in front of my table, so people are literally blocking you, and you can't even get any.
That was when I was with you. I was with you at that one.
Yeah. So it was in San Diego, they have the fire department there. If your line's too long, they cut it off or shut your shit down. Yeah. But New York, there's no fire department at these cons. They need to, because it's just the way they just block elevators, block exits with tables. It's what are you doing? It's
Big Apple, you know how Mike is. He's just throw a table there, throw a table there. Right. If he can mount the table to the ceiling, you'd be sitting there.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's why they call him the Mad Hatter, right? That's why he's the Mad Hatter. He's earned the title, I mean, but respect to them, they've been in the game the longest. Before them was the Madison Square Garden show. They had that Roosevelt Hotel show. I remember back in the day when San Diego, New York, the Javits shows were $10 to get in. People are oh my God, $10, that's expensive. Now
but see, that's a great point, because when New York Comic Con first launched, they were so good to the little guy.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know, and they were taking a risk, going up against San Diego. They wanted, so they didn't know. They really took care of the little guy. The moment they realized their potential, the little guys started going to the back of the room.
Yeah.
And then they, the rates became a little more aggressive, and it became harder. And that's because celebrities infiltrated the camp. And that's the same thing that's happening with crowdfunding. Celebrities have infiltrated the camp, just like they did at Comic Cons. They're doing it with the Kickstarters. I mean, I think, what was it? Keanu Reeves' book of Berserk, over $1 million they raised on Kickstarter. That's the challenge, where people are willing to give because of the name recognition. So your job as an indie is that much more difficult, and that's why you have to be able to look at your long game and because you're going up against everybody. You're going up against your fellow indie. You're going up against the named indies, the ones with notoriety, the ones that are published through the smaller publishers' house like Scout Publishing and Behemoth Comics and all these new startups that are coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So those guys have name recognition because they were in previews, because they're in stores.
Right.
So you're competing with them too.
Right. And then don't forget the narcissistic cosplayers.
Yeah. So
I'm all for cosplayers, but it's way out of control.
You got all that. So
there needs to be some regulation for that,
Gaming is taking over the cons too. So you have so many different things. What's going to make you stand out? And I think the biggest thing is, number one, repetition, 2, consistency, 3, quality work, 4, the grind. Even now, I'm doing PowCon and I'm working on sketch cards. I want at least 50 in my book to be able to sell and have ready to go. I've identified key characters that the people are after, and just have that ready. So it's like I'm working ahead of the game. Because I don't want my head down at the con. I want to be up talking to the people. I don't want my head down. I don't want to be drawing at the con.
Okay.
Exactly.
Guys, I'm gonna have to let you go.
We're about to wrap it up. We're about to wrap it up. So we just got 2 days left. Let's do the plug one more time.
No, so Gilbert says New York Comic Con isn't about comics anymore. After 2014, it became about pop culture. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Very true. Chris, you could bounce if you'd like. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Chris.
Peace out.
Peace out. Peace in the Middle East.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue, Sam.
But that's legit. I mean, I think, when I decided to come back,
right.
I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. There you go. You're talking. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna be Medea. Hello. So when I decided to come back into the game, I knew that there was a level of commitment and sacrifice that was required of me.
Right.
So that's why I came in. So 6 months before I launched the podcast, I was doing my homework. So the industry changed, the technology changed. There was a lot more streaming. I mean, we didn't have all these things, Instagram and all this stuff back then. So we just had podcasts, and we were one of the first to do a video podcast. And
yes, remember that.
So so now everything's changed. I'm like, all right. So I had to recalibrate, assess what I had in my equipment, get what I didn't have, learn the new programs, learn the new softwares, open up all these accounts that I didn't have in social media, figure out how to link everything up, brand everything, create the content. I went with George and said, here's the structure of the show, blah, 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 blah. And I said, you need to have a section, and that's where Get Your Meds came from. I said, I want you to have a section that we come up with a topic we talk about. And we laid down the foundation, and then I went in like a beast. Right. And then that was just the groundwork to coming back into publishing. So I was like, all right, let's get the audience, get that face recognition, and let everybody get comfortable with the fact that we're back, and people who don't know who we are, let's get them affiliated with who we are. Then introduce the comic book, and then go from. So everything's like a multi-phase strategy, and that's just the groundwork. That's just the foundation.
Exactly.
The hustle begins when I'm ready to, like, for instance, with Catch the Crazies, we're waiting for the issue 4 to be printed before we hit up all the retailers.
Right.
And that's what kicks in, because I don't want to look bad because it's my name, is my, and so I want to make sure that we have enough in the pipeline that we can at least, we have 4 months in a row. And those, by the time they get 4, 5 is already going to be done. Right. By the time they get 5, 6 is going to be done. I mean, but when they get 1, 4 is going to be done. When they get 2, 5 is going to be done. So we're already ahead of the game by 3 books, and that's the way I want it. Right. And that's the way you have to think as an independent, unless you're just going to do a one shot all the time, or you just want to do anthologies. But I think if don't bank on the cons being your bread and butter.
No, it's a different game now. It's a different game.
Look at the cons as a networking, a potential to build a database of potential fans. That's what I look at the cons for. I was like, when I'm there, anybody who buys my book, the first question is, what, can I put you on the email list? That's the first thing, because I want to make sure we cultivate this audience that we build. And that's the way every independent needs to be thinking, is the hustle.
Yes.
What's your hustle going to look like? I mean, I post multiple times a day. You'll see my post everywhere. I'm obnoxious, and it's just try, man.
That's part of it.
That's part of it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's all about that daily meditation. Making that your mantra. Making that your voice. Just repetitious. Like writers got to write, artists got to draw, and you got to promote.
I mean, it was the last 2 days I decided to go online and draw today and try to build draw one of the characters for Forbidden, and I did it yesterday. I'm gonna do it tomorrow, and on Saturday morning, because Saturday afternoon it ends. I'll do the same thing, to try to, tomorrow I'm gonna stream on both of my accounts on Instagram while streaming on Twitch and Periscope and YouTube and Facebook. And so it's
what's Periscope? I never heard that one.
So Periscope was bought by Twitter. So at the end of the month, Periscope is no longer going to be around. It's going to be Twitter. So Periscope is linked to your Twitter account and allows you to stream and create another audience.
Really?
Yeah. So if you have a Twitter account, you just download Periscope, create that, and then your StreamYard should be able to link it to your Twitter Periscope account.
Oh, I see that. I see it says Periscope there. Yeah, I'm looking at that now. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I gave you a little something.
Yeah, for real. I'm like, Periscope, what's that?
I gave you a little nugget. So
I wish I could mix my TikTok in this, because I see people doing live on TikTok.
Yeah, you could do that.
It doesn't link through StreamYard or something.
No. So what I do is when I'm streaming on multiple platforms, what I do is I set up both of I have two phones. So I set up both, and I utilize two accounts that I have. So I have my Art of Samuel Rivera and the Catch the Craze account, and I have the cameras. If I'm drawing, I'll have the phones faced where I'm on my tablet.
Right.
And I'll just look up once in a while to see who's on the chat watching the stream. I'll have, so there's ways around it until Facebook figures out a way to nail it, because Twitter, buying Periscope, they're looking to compete.
Right.
And, because Twitter has that new feature where you can now post at the top, almost like Facebook stories.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they don't. But they don't have music or anything like that. So they're still a long way behind.
Yeah, I think the like Twitter was really for journalists or something, because you had to concise your thoughts and your ideas.
The problem is the amount of characters available. So if you're trying to pitch something, you need the hashtags on Twitter, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to pitch something to a specific audience, you got to be really concise to be able to leave enough room for the hashtags for the audience that you're trying to target.
Right.
And I think, look, one of the things I learned big time is study your audience, understand the game, study it. Look for the flaws, look for the holes. Don't go in the same path that everybody else is going.
Right, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Because
it's every different content, different.
Yes, everybody's over there. It's the market saturated. You're barely going to get a sip of that wine. I'd rather go this way and figure out how to create a new lane than following everybody else. So what I do is I join all these communities. I'm learning from everybody else. I run a lot of analytics on my back end. I'm just trying to figure out the algorithms of everything, and that helps me make a concise decision when I'm doing something. And that comes back from what I did in business. And I just want to be competitive, but I'm not in a rush. I'm being methodical, and I'm looking at everything in stages. I look at everything like we do in business in quarters.
Right.
Every 3 months, did I accomplish what I set out to accomplish these first 3 months? Yeah. So, because I know in the first 30 days if I'm going to achieve that goal that I set myself for the 90 days. And if I see in those first 30 days I'm not getting to where I need to go, I can readjust that strategy to make sure I stay focused and still hit that objective at that 90-day mark. That's so I think the part that people don't want to do when they're creators, they don't want to do the business side. Right,
exactly. That's true.
But if you're an independent, you have to understand the business side of it.
You have to be able to wear both hats, and if you're not going to last.
You're not going to last. It's brutal.
My first partner, God bless him, he's like, when we used to do shows like back in PhillyCon, we get to the table, I set up the marketing, get everything, the prices on the table, and he'd put on his headphones and then start drawing, and they'd be like, and I was like, yeah, man, what are you doing? You got to help sell. You have to help sell the book. You got to promote the book. He's like, well, but I'm drawing, man. People are going to come by when I'm drawing. I was like, I was like, that's not gonna work, bro. I mean, it did work to a certain extent. It did back then. That was like the early 2000s, but it wasn't. That's not how you're gonna make sales,
Not today.
Not today.
You need to make eye contact, and you need to engage, and you need to be charming. You need to you need to be likable, and it's hard because a lot of creators are awkward, and we all have our own quirks, and so like me, I have a look in my face that can come off as intimidating, and so I have to remind myself of that. You know what I mean? Because I was in security for 17 years, so it comes off when I'm it's like I gotta stop. I'm not I'm not investigating anybody right now.
Right.
So that's the thing that I have to work on, and remind myself. Sam, smile. Sam, smile. Use your Obama smile. And you know what I mean?
I like that. I like.
Yeah, there you go. And but we all have to be mindful of the things that turn people off and how to adjust, because you become a salesman now.
Right. Very true. And that is super important, man. That is. I was a salesman for years. Like I told you, I used to sell Bibles when I was a Jehovah's Witness. I was like that dude on the corner.
Oh, you're the one that I was hiding. When you rang my doorbell, I dropped it. I was like, we crawled.
The funny thing is, though, when I was a teenager, I used to look at people just standing there, like holding their magazine, like, "What are you doing?" Like they're like,
I remember
like this. They're like, and then I talk and then I say anything. I was just like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "You're not going to make any sales like that." So I used to go up to people like, "Hey, you want to read this? Hey, you want to read this?" Hey, I was like,
you guys are so aggressive. I can tell you, because they were ring the bell, and then they were trying to look in the window. And floor, like, don't breathe, don't move.
Dude, I used to have drug dealers buying my shit, like.
Oh my God! You put an Easy E up in there. You put like 50 cents, right?
I had no fear. I'd be like on the corner. They were like, I remember one guy tried to shake me down, check my briefcase, all this stuff. They thought I was like they thought I was like an undercover. Oh, man. So what you got in your bag? What you got in your bag? Bibles, man. Bibles. That's all we got. Yeah.
Ray, you need to make a comic book about your life, man. That's a bestseller. You got a great story in your life alone, dude. Seriously. I swear I'd buy that. I would miss rent payments just to buy that story.
Yeah, it would have to be plastic wrap because of all the innuendos. Dude, that would be a great story. It'd be like the Black Kiss, the Howard Chaykin book, like covered in plastic. And you need 3D glasses, like. Thank you guys for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Any final words? Where can they find you? Where can they find your internet, all that stuff?
I'll let Johnny go first.
Go, John.
Well, I have my Futurescope available. Futurescope Showcase book available online on my Facebook, and I mail it right to you. Payment you can send through PayPal. Contact me through Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I have another book coming out, and I'm going to be at the PowCon with my boy Sam doing this thing. Also,
very nice.
Support my brother Sam. Get him to that point. It's worth the money. He got great work, great product. Back him up. Let's back each other up so we can rise each other up.
I'm gonna buy mine right now. Let me see.
Yes.
Every day for the past 30 days.
Right now.
I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
I think Ray wants to bring you in the home stretch. That's what I think it is.
Yeah. Put that in the private comments so I could copy and paste that over there so I can support and give my support to the brothers here, we're still in the game. Everybody needs to show their love.
Yes. So so support Forbidden on Indiegogo. Type in Forbidden Comic or hit the link right here. I'll put the link again if you're watching.
Yeah, pop that link in there so I can see that. I got to type that out.
Yeah, so there's a link. It's a great book. It's the last 2 days. It ends Saturday afternoon. And fantastic art, fantastic story. a great team that worked on it. A lot of great people, and I'm sounding like Trump. Everybody's great.
I'm the best.
I know, right? You're gonna love it.
Let me share this. Let me share the screen real quick over here. So,
yeah. But I appreciate everybody who supported. We have 25 backers. We are with 170%. I'd like to make the stretch goal.
Yeah, we got to back that baby right there. Can you see that? I'm backing it right now.
Yes, if we make the stretch goal, everybody pledged at
$15
and up will receive a commission sketch card if we make that stretch goal.
All right. So we're gonna do the $15.
Sam the Crazy Man Vera. And so you can catch me on Catch the Craze podcast. All you have to do is type in Catch the Craze and everything comes up. So it's with a D-A, not a T-H-E.
Right.
And you visit crazycomics.com. That's with 2 E's and not a Y. I make everything difficult. And
PayPal or what? Does that take PayPal?
Huh?
Does that take PayPal?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh, look at him. Look at what you're doing.
Support now.
Tell him about Shaku. He's the man. You got to tell him about Shaku.
Oh, wait till you see Shaku. That's in issue 3.
Yes.
Issue 3 pops off with a lot. Issue 0, it so that you understand, Forbidden issue 0 starts off where the ultimate sin happens. The son of Vox challenges his father, questioning why they're still hiding underground. They've been there for centuries. Why they're underground. He doesn't believe the curse still exists. What's up, Michael? And he doesn't believe the curse still exists. So he challenges his father, and that's where it happens. That's where Sin gets his name. Sin, because his birth name is Starticus. He commits the ultimate sin, creates a series of events, and basically sends tremors in the dark world where Nocron realizes something's happening. The son of Vox has risen, and that's where it takes off. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's the best opening to a comic book in a long time. I guarantee it, and you're going to enjoy it.
Yes, awesome. So donate today. And for everyone else, this is Bronx Heroes Comic-Con. Thank you for joining. And don't forget that this was Will Eisner Week was only 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it's still Will Eisner Month. So go to WillEisner.com. Check out all the cool links. You get an interview with Danny Fingeroth and a few other people, Dennis Kitchen, all those cool things that are going on right now. So comic books are alive and well. We're not going anywhere. Comic books are here to stay. And God bless. Gentlemen, hang back real quick while we wrap this bad boy up.
Yes.
And I'm going to play my little exit intro. Oops, I think I just did that. There we go. All right. That broadcast is over.